What's going on, guys? RBG here, back with another video on Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, and I wanted to do something a little different from the usual coverage. As we all know, players will get access to 3 brand new costumes in the remastered PlayStation 5 version of Marvel Spider-Man, with Sony revealing that the Andrew Garfield-era suit from The Amazing Spider-Man will be counted among them. And I wanted to do a breakdown on this suit as well as a comparison of the actual in-game model to the CG model from the Amazing Spider-Man movie. I'll also be giving my theories on what the other 2 suits could possibly be. With every suit, the developers have managed to capture the insane amount of details they showcase in each respective film, not only with the movie suits, but also with their own original creations. Instead of simply just adding pre-existing suits onto their Spider-Man model, they went above and beyond to make them look practical. They added extra detail like patterns and textures to look real. Like when you look at these things in the photo mode, you can get a general idea of what the materials could be if they actually were real. You can tell that the white parts of the advanced suit are made from carbon fiber, and when you zoom in the Iron Spider suit, you can look at the little patterns and see that it has some form of nanotech on it. Everything just looks amazing, and I was looking forward to seeing how well the Amazing Spider-Man suit would translate in this game. But as we all know, it'd take 2 years to get it, but I think it was well worth the wait because the remaster is only going to highlight the detail in the suit even more. Although The Amazing Spider-Man was one of my least favorite Spidey films, something I always loved about it was how crisp the outfit looked whenever it was in action. And I loved how the director made sure to make Spider-Man perform his most iconic poses, particularly from the Todd McFarlane's run of the comics. Something I've noticed is that Insomniac pretty much used the TASM films as their template when it came to the way Spider-Man swings. You see him doing the dives like he did in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and every pose serves a purpose based on the way Spidey transitions while he swings. Another thing that seems to have been picked up from the TASM films is the concepts from the first suit. During the production of the first Amazing Spider-Man film, the director Mark Webb wanted to do something different from the previous Spidey films. He wanted the world he was establishing at the time to be more grounded as opposed to fantastical, and the costume designer Kate Barrett really hammered home that direction in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit. She managed to create a suit that looked like it could be legit made by a teenager. If someone like Peter Parker doesn't necessarily have the funds to craft this perfect super suit, he has to use what little resources he has available. So he looks up athletic compression gear for the base of the costume, and since he can't make his own boots, he has to cut these soles off of sneakers and use them as the bottom of a boot. Finally, he used the lenses from old sunglasses to create his awesome mask. These are some of the best ideas I've seen in a Spider-Man film to date, and I take them over the Iron Man Jr. concepts any day. And I think this is why Insomniac pretty much went this route. While they didn't flat out say that they were inspired by this concept, it's hard to refute that they weren't. I mean, just look at the advanced suit. It's like the developers tried to delve into that fantasy world while trying to retain a sense of realism. I want you to take a look at this little snippet from the Building a New Spider Suit video that sounds awfully familiar to the explanation given by Mark Webb.
We thought about a couple things. First, what a 20-something would be inspired by. And I was thinking about sneakers, and that's why when you look at his shoe, it actually looks like a sneaker. The other thing that we looked at was athletic wear and compression wear as well. So you see that there's paneling all over the suit that mimics where you would need support.
We were trying to create a suit that felt somewhat legitimate in terms of this kid could make it. Well, I was thinking, how would a kid make a suit? Well, he'd probably take tennis shoes and cut the bottoms of them and use that as the pads of the shoes. I mean, if he's making his own suit, who wouldn't do that? It seems a logical thing to do.
So yeah guys, if that doesn't scream the Amazing Spider-Man suit with a different paint job, I don't know what does. Of course, there are a few key differences such as the advanced suit featuring the mechanical eyes, but everything else seems damn near identical. And now we have the actual Amazing Spider-Man suit making its way into the game. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the 3rd Spider-Man game it's been featured in. We've obviously seen it in action in the movie tie-in games for the Amazing Spider-Man, and I think it even appeared in the sequel as an unlockable. And for games that came out almost a decade ago, the suit still manages to shine through. Well, anyways, as you can see, Insomniac decided to include a promotion that directly mimics one of the promotions for the Amazing Spider-Man movie. And upon first glance, I thought it was an actual shot from the movie, because if you remember, he does that exact same pose at the end of the film. Something that I was a little apprehensive about was how Spidey's physique would look in this particular suit, because outside of the Raimi suit, other suits from the movies don't necessarily feature the same body types as the actors that wore them in the films. Like the MCU suits look a bit taller than what it would look like if Tom Holland was wearing them in the game, not to mention that the muscle structure is a little different as well. So I was afraid that the Insomniac Spider-Man physique would do the TASM suit a huge disservice. What I really liked about the Andrew Garfield version was how it tried to capture the lanky looking aesthetic from the comics. Rather than create a suit for a bulky physique, the director wanted to create one that expresses and enhances the leanness of Spider-Man. And that's what separates the Amazing Spider-Man from the others. But Insomniac's version is a little on the bulky side. With that said, they did take creative liberties to alter the physique when you equip costumes like the Into the Spider-Verse skin. and I'm pretty sure they'll do it with Miles Morales once he gets his Spider-Verse suit, so they may or may not try to replicate Spider-Man's lean build from the TASM film. Based on this screenshot, I can't tell if they will be doing that, but hopefully they do. Another detail I'm not sure they'll implement is the interactive web shooters. If you pay close attention to the movie, Spider-Man's web shooters light up bright red as he's about to shoot out a web. I don't think any of the TASM tie-in games have captured this little detail, and judging from this shot, it doesn't look like Insomniac will capture it either. But then again, I could be wrong, because these types of screenshots usually come from the game's loading screens. They don't necessarily represent the actual web swinging gameplay. As a matter of fact, I don't think most of the poses they showcase in these loading screens you can do in the actual game, so there's a possibility that they can make the web shooters light up. Given the fact that this suit is going to be featured on the PS5, I wouldn't rule out the possibilities of them utilizing the next-gen capabilities to bring it to life. But moving on, I want to talk about the other two costumes that might make it into the game. There's been quite a few speculations revolving around them, and since the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit has been revealed, many have assumed that the TASM 2 suit will be one of the other suits. I remember when Marvel Spider-Man was first revealed and Insomniac showed some of the suits that were going to be included, the Raimi and the TASM 2 suits were the most demanded suits for the game, which is totally understandable because those are arguably the best looks out of all the Spider-Man films. Considering the fact that this is the first look for the live-action movie version of Spider-Man, the Raimi costume was an absolute must-have for this game. The raised webbing was a very creative way to make the suit really stand out, and the reflective eye lenses are iconic. You can pretty much put any kind of color pattern on it and it will still look good. And this instantly made me assume that we would be getting the black symbiote Raimi suit from the Spider-Man 3 movie, but as it turns out we didn't, which was a bummer. I'm not sure if it was because the suit was just too dark or what. If that's the case, I hope the updated graphics engine will remedy this issue and highlight all of the little details. I feel like this is why Insomniac is going with the neon noir aesthetic for Miles Morales' game, because his suit is mainly black and it needs more light to bounce off of it to make it stand out during missions at night. So hopefully those same rules can apply if we just so happen to get the black Raimi suit. But getting back on the Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume, a suit that pretty much takes what Sam Raimi did with the original trilogy suit and combines it with the Todd McFarlane look. I mean, some claim that it's trying to look like the Brian Michael Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man since it has the big eyes, but McFarlane was the first to break that tradition and introduce the super buggy look. But yeah, this look for the longest time was the most comic accurate suit in the movies, until the Stark suit made its debut in the Captain America Civil War film with the classic Ditko look, and I still prefer this costume out of all of them. Two other candidates I have that are pretty much honorable mentions is the Superior Spider-Man and Spider-Cop costumes. I was fairly surprised that the Superior suit wasn't added into the game because Insomniac Spider-Man is pretty much the Superior Spider-Man. Just like in the comics, he features all of the gadgets. Like, they literally lifted the spider drone from that particular run of the comics. Speaking of comics, Superior Spider-Man aka Dr. Otto Octavius was actually featured in Marvel Spider-Man's comic book tie-in called Spider-Geddon, where him and the other versions of Spider-Man join forces to stop the evil inheritors. As for Spider-Cop, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's something that's been a running gag in the first game back when Spider-Man would occasionally use it as his alias while talking to Yuri, and later it was confirmed to be an actual version of Spidey that exists in the Earth 19119 universe. So that would be a funny and welcome addition to have in the already extensive collection of suits in Marvel Spider-Man. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this video to a close. What are some of the suits you want to see in the remaster? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I ask you like or dislike this video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback and will only help me improve on future videos. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on social media. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.